This video explains how to visualize and compare data for individuals or other individual entities, such as firms or countries, through a plot. How can you visualize and compare data for individual entities through a plot? The easiest and most practical way would be to create a bar plot. In this video, you will learn how you can use a bar plot to demonstrate the winner of a hot dog eating contest among a bunch of friends. To do this, you need first enter numbers into R as data that R can recognize, and then use that data to create a bar plot that compares the number of hot dogs eaten by each contestant. By the end of this video, you should be comfortable with creating simple bar plots for comparison among individual entities. Let's use the following example. Let's consider 4 friends, Kate, Doug, Jen, and Ryan, who are competing to see who can eat the most hot dogs in 5 minutes. The hot dogs are plain without ketchup or mustard, just a hot dog in a bun. The records for the 4 contestants are as follows. Ryan ate 9 hot dogs, Jen ate 6 hot dogs, Kate ate 11 hot dogs, and Doug ate 14 hot dogs. The first step in creating a bar plot for your R Markdown report is to create an R code chunk in your RMD file. To do so, click Code, Insert Chunk. After doing so, you should see the following R code chunk in your RMD file. Inside this R code chunk, we will place your R code to produce a bar plot, which will be integrated seamlessly with the text in the HTML output document. The second step in creating a bar plot is writing the R code to create your variables. For this example, you will want to create a variable that will hold the contestants' names and also a variable that will hold the number of hot dogs that each contestant ate. That is, you will have 2 variables. One variable will create the names of 4 contestants, Ryan, Jen, Kate, and Doug. And the second variable will create the number of hot dogs that each contestant ate. 9 for Ryan, 6 for Jen, 11 for Kate, and 14 for Doug. However, first, what you want to do is to start adding comments for each line of code in order to keep track of what your code is doing for yourself and help others to reproduce your code in the future. These comments or nodes are called comment lines, and you place a comment line above each line of code. These comment lines are defined by the hashtag or a pound sign, which tells R to ignore these lines. That is, you start these lines of codes called comment lines with a hashtag or a pound sign. Since comment lines are ignored by R, they are a perfect way to keep certain line of codes in your file without having them be executed. Thus, the first line of your code will be your first comment line, and it will start with a hashtag. And then you can write, for this example, create variable for contestant names. The 2 variables, one is called contestants, and the second one called hot dogs, are being created through the C function and the assignment symbol. So we put the first variable names. So we put the first variable name, contestants, followed by the assignment symbol, and then the C function. This expression is the assignment symbol that takes whatever comes out of a function in R and assigns it to the variable on the left, which is, in this example, called contestants. The letter C and its parenthesis is the C function. It takes and combines whatever is inside the parenthesis as input and exports it as output, with commas being used to separate the different elements of each variable. Different elements in this case, for the variable contestants are the names of the contestants. Since the contestants' names are characters, the elements of the variable contestants should be surrounded by quotation marks. So we can type Ryan, Jen, 8 and dark. Next, you want to create a variable called hot dogs. So first, to keep track of and show artists what you are doing, you put a comment line that starts with a hashtag with something like explaining, with something that is explaining what the line of our code will do after this comment line. In this case, we can write create variable for numbers of hot dogs eaten. So we need to put the name of the variable, assignment sign, and then the C function. And the values that the variable hot dogs take. The values for the hot dogs variable should not be included, should not be surrounded by the quotation marks. If you add quotation marks around the numeric values, they will be treated as characters, and there will be an error message when you try to plot these characters as numbers. Make sure the corresponding values of the two variables match. For example, the first observation of the variable contestants is Ryan, which should match with the value 9 in the first observation of the variable hot dogs, since this is how many hot dogs that Ryan ate. If a value is missing, always make sure to insert two capital letters, N and A, in its place, because NA tells R that there is a missing value in its place. For example, if we didn't know how many hot dogs Ryan ate, then instead of 14, we would put NA. Since we know how many hot dogs Ryan ate, we put this value 14 here. The first step is to write the R code that will create a bar plot for the number of hot dogs eaten, with contestant names as labels using the bar plot function. Again, first we write a comment explaining what the R code is doing next. Then we write an R code line that will create a bar plot. So we write the bar plot function. Inside the parentheses of the bar plot function, list the variable called hot dogs first, because the variable provides the values for the different bars in the plot. It is followed by a comma if there is any additional arguments to be listed. Then we want to put an option for the graph's title. So it's main. And the title of our graph will be hot dogs eating contest. Then we put comma. Next, we add an option to name each of the columns in the bar chart. This option uses the values of the variable called contestants as labels for each variables for the different bars. Finally, we add an option to add, we put comma, and we add an option to add a label for the y-axis of the plot. And in this case, the label is the number of hot dogs. The fourth step is to run this complete code chunk that you see on my screen and you should see on yours. So we navigate to the button Run Code Chunk and press it. This bar graph is titled Hot Dog Eating Contest. It has the 4 people in the contest named Ryan, Jen, Kate, and Doug on the x-axis, and the number of hot dogs eaten by each person on the y-axis. The values on the y-axis range from 0 to 14 in intervals of 2. So the bar plot shows the number of hot dogs for people who participated in the contest. The last step in producing a plot is to explain and interpret it. It is your job, not the readers, to define what your plot does and then interpret what pattern the plot reveals. For this particular example, you may draw the following conclusion. The bar plot compares graphically the number of hot dogs eaten by 4 contestants, Ryan, Jen, Kate, and Doug, in a hot dog eating contest to identify a winner. From this plot, it's clear that Doug consumed the most, Jen consumed the least, while Kate took second place and Ryan took third.